Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we are in sunny Leeds. As usual, a grey sky, and we are in Hare Hills. Now, if you remember the first ever property review we did here in Hare Hills, and in today's video we are visiting a 4-storey mid-terrace buy-to-let property, and we're going to work out whether we're going to flip in it, rent it, live in it, or avoid it. Let's go in. Ooh, so today is a bit of a chilly day, but as we're coming in here, and you'll see throughout, this is not one of those high-end properties. It's one of those where actually for the area, this is about the standard that you're looking to achieve. Now, with some properties, I think a lot of people, when you're purchasing them, you can think, right, I'm going to strip it all out and start again. You know, it's got the dreaded magnolia walls, threaded carpets, and the carpets actually are a little bit worse for wear, so we'd probably replace those. But in general, this isn't one where you'd come in and spend 15 grand refurbishing this, because in this standard, it would achieve the top end of the market rent for the area. So down here, really nice high ceilings, and it's a decent sized room as well. And what you maybe can't see is there's this little bit of space here, which is nice for a storage area behind. And with this, what you do need to take account of in Hare Hills, and a lot of areas now around the UK, is this is a licensed area. So what you'll see on some doors, if we come to this one for example, is all right, being a bit dramatic, but that is genuinely heavy, because these are fire doors, which is a requirement to a licensed area. Just be remembering that, because this will cost about £1,000 to put throughout this property, and you will not legally be able to rent it, if that is what you choose to do, without them in place. So as we're coming down the stairs, you can see it's a bit of a dingy room, and first thing I'd be doing is changing these lights, so it's actually got some decent bits in here. In here, some basic storage behind, nothing really in there apart from the electric consumer units and bits like that. But this is the kitchen of the property. So again, when you're watching this, it's like, oh, kitchen downstairs. Always know your area. Very standard in the area. It's not exactly top nick, you know, if I were redoing this, you'd probably rip it out and that. But for the area, if you are going to rent this out, you probably keep this in place. But if you were thinking about flipping this property on, I'd probably think about a way to bring the kitchen either upstairs, maneuvering it around. But with the space available, every single property on this street has the kitchen downstairs. And as I said, this is over 4 levels. So now what we need to do is go up and up again. And if you've seen any of these videos, you know my legs will be killing with Yorkshire steps. These stairs are killing. Okay, so as we get over to the first floor, so we've gone from the basement to ground to first floor, we've got the bathroom over here, we've got the boiler in play in this, which actually is absolutely fine with that. And again, you look at the standard of this, it's just bread and butter really. There's nothing crazy about it. It's very basic. And if you were in one of the higher end areas of Leeds that we've been to, you'd probably rip this out and start again. But this is one of those situations where it's got a bath, it's got a shower, it's tiled, you've got the Maggie walls, you've got a sink, you've got a toilet, and it all works. Now, that's not to say I wouldn't freshen it off if I were keeping it. It's just, it's already in working order. And sometimes you do need to be objective about the property investment in the, if I put 20 grand into this, 15 grand into it, I can't see the price that it would achieve today versus the price that it would achieve then making that 15, 20 grand. And I think you'd actually lose money. And with the rental, I don't think you'd achieve any more considering the demand in the area. Then if we go through behind, what we're going to look at is the first bedroom for this property. So it's got some bits in here already. But again, you can see it's a really nice size, really high ceilings, and it's got some dressing bits that are going to come out. And I'll tell you the story of this property a bit more at the end of this video, so stick around for that. And again, the same sort of thing. It's all right. It's just all right. There's nothing special about it. It's your bread and butter property. It's in decent enough nick to rent out. But this is where, as I'm going around, if you ever watch some of my other videos, first thing I always notice is the underlay, or in this case, lack of underlay on the property. But for the first bedroom, it's a really decent size, which is what a lot of people are looking at in the area. And what I'm hoping for is this is mirrored upstairs. I'm going to check how many floors I've done at the end of this. So this is the second floor, ground first, second, yeah. And let's have a look in here. Again, bread and butter straight away. Beautiful curtains. I mean, why? Anyway, doesn't matter. Bread and butter. This is just about, it classifies as a bedroom, by the way, but these bedrooms really annoy me because of the actual size of it and the shape of it. And if you ever watched my video on the refurbishments talking about outliers, this is exactly what I mean. It's one of those that you can count as a bedroom, so it would technically be a 3-bedroom property, but you really need to understand the demand in an area, because if this is normal in the area, great. If it's not, good luck trying to sell this to a tenant or a buyer at the end of this if you are looking to do that, because where's the bed? Is it going to go here and come out to here? Is it going to be like some cot here? It's really hard to imagine the layout of this room, so bit of a letdown, but is what it is. And then if we go back here, let's have a look here actually. Nice bit of storage, you know I love a bit of storage in the property. And then as we're coming into this room, again, it's a small room, but actually it's big enough to be a proper double bedroom. As you can see, sort of positioned here, and maybe you'd have sort of some chest of drawers in the area and then utilize the space out there. So overall quality, 6 out of 10, being ambitious. For the area, kind of 8 out of 10. You'd probably do a tart up, bit of a paint in here if it were rental. Obviously, if you're looking to live in it, you do whatever you need to do. And if I was selling it on, I'd probably strip it back and spend a good 15 grand on it. But I think you're really gonna struggle in this area to make the margin on that initially, because you'd have to get this discounted to make the money, and it just does not happen in this area of Leeds. So let's talk through the numbers of this property. The lower end of a 3-bed in this area is around £95,000, and I'd say this is that not low end, but it needs a little bit of a tart up on it. The upper end of this is 105,000. Now this is where the problem comes in, is there's not enough of a difference in that price to make money by refurbishing it unless you get it below the market value. And this is where everyone hypes on about property, get B&V, but actually in good areas with great capital growth, this just isn't going to happen here. So around 95,000, by the time you've got buying fees and things like that, you're in for around £30,000 cash on that once you've got your deposit, your stamp duty and your additional fees within that. This property in its current spec will rent for around £600. So renting it out for 600 minus the mortgage, the management, voids, etc., we're going to end up with just shy of £300 per calendar month, which is £3,600 per annum, which is a solid 12% return on capital employed. Now, if we decided to do a full refurbishment of this property, this is where these properties I don't really like, because I think you've got 3 types. You've got a new build, which literally means nothing. You've got your tart up properties, which is 2.5 grand really for fresh carpets and paint, or you need to do a proper refurbishment. This is one of those deceptive properties where you can come in and spend 2.5 grand on getting rid of the carpets, new carpets and paint, and it will have a fresher look in the property, or you can do a refurbishment. The problem is, once you strip everything back and go back forward, you are talking 15, and I would expect in this property probably closer to that £20,000 mark, considering the increased cost in labour, materials, and the fact what most people miss, it's over 4 floors, which adds to the expense. So unless you're able to get this at a significantly reduced price, I'd be relying on that rental. Now, the great thing about this area is Leeds has had exceptional capital growth. This area in particular has had just over a 10% increase in value in the last year alone. Is if you were to purchase this just on the rental basis, you're going to enjoy some really strong capital growth. So what we're looking at there is getting it at a discount, or even at the value today, you are getting a 12% return on capital, which is insane when you compare it to the 0. Fuck all that we're getting in the bank right now. So the numbers sound good, but here are 3 things I don't like about this property. Number one, there's so many steps. Okay, not the steps, but the floors, and you need to remember each floor increases the costs. Number two is the area. So this is in Hare Hills, which is known to be one of the rougher areas in Leeds. Now the good sign of that is it's licensing in the area, development in the area and things like that, but it has a bad name for itself. And when you've got that, you need to think about the overall image of the property and tenant type, if you are going to keep it, of the property moving forward. And finally, number three is the quality of the finish. So the property is too good to warrant a full refurbishment on it, but also looks a little bit dingy that you do need to spend money of it. And so it's trying to find that mid ground on how much you want to put in so you're not sinking all of those costs, but maximizing the return on your investment. It's not all bad though. Here are three good things I like about this property. Number one is people want to rent it. Since coming here, there's been 3 people already posting through the door that they want to live in this property. Number two is the growth in the area, and I'm talking about capital growth. Yorkshire and the Humber had the highest growth this year of about 10.2%, and this area of Leeds had in excess of that. What that means is we are reaching doubling our value of property if that remains consistent in around 8 years. So I would do this one in the garden, but there isn't one, and that is the third thing I like about this property from a rental perspective. If there is no garden, it minimizes the ongoing maintenance of the property. So the question is, am I going to flip it, rent in it, live in it, or avoid it? Well, you should know me by now. I don't avoid a good property investment. I'm not going to live in it because it's just not the area I would choose to live in Leeds. So then it really comes down to flipping it or renting it out, and I'm going to leave it with renting it out. The reason why is I can't flip this property because I'd have to get this below market value, and it just doesn't happen in this area. But more so, people just focus on the price. They're going to lose out in this market right now. What we're looking for is solid 2 to 4 bed houses, not flats, in a great location with regeneration, which this area has a lot of, and great tenant demand. So we're going to get a really solid double-digit return on capital employed and solid capital growth. And this is what we do in this area. We like to purchase ourselves, and we find these properties for our APG clients. So if you got value from this video, make sure to hit the like button and let me know what you thought in the comments. And of course, if you're new to this channel and you're looking to increase your property investment knowledge, then make sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and I'll see you in the next video.